All right, let's talk about emotional connection, intimacy, and attraction when it comes to a relationship. As I've been diving into these subjects and building my free emotional connection challenge, um, it's been coming really clear to me that a lot of people don't actually know the difference between these things. And I think it's really important to understand because you can have like emotional connection and intimacy in all of your relationships. But when it comes to the attraction, that's something that you hold with your partner. And so I wanted to just share with you the difference between these because it will make a difference in your relationship. Especially because I've had a lot of clients lately come to me and say, I don't know if I'm with the right partner. And I've had this experience happen as well in my past relationships where it can be very, very confusing, the difference between having an emotional connection with someone, having love for someone, and to actually be like attracted to them mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually, energetically, whatever you want to call it. So just going to explain now when it comes to emotional connection, like I talk about the polarities and all that kind of stuff a lot. Now, emotional connection is something you can have with everyone. And it's like something that we obviously all need as humans is to have this emotional connection. And it's nothing mental, it's nothing physical. It's like this connection to our like inner being. Like we are like 80% of us is like body and feeling and emotion, and only 20% of us is like thinking and the mind. So when you're only connected with someone on a mental level, you're really not connected at the depth of yourself. So an emotional connection is something that we can create with every single human. And that connection is physics. It's when you have the polarities, as I've spoken about before. You have your masculine polarity and you have your feminine polarity. We have both of those within us, but to have an emotional connection, one person needs to be emoting, and then the other person needs to be the counterpart, which is observing and being present with the person who is emoting. So the emoting is the feminine, the presence is the masculine. And so that is something that goes back and forth in interactions, in relationships. And that's what builds the emotional connection. Are you in a place where you can emote with a person? Are they creating that safe space for you to actually emote? And then when it's their turn to emote, are you creating that safe space for them? So that is what emotional connection is, right? And we can have that in our romantic relationships, our friendships, and with our family and with our clients, and even with strangers. Now, when we talk about intimacy, intimacy is as you see it, into me I see. Intimacy happens when you are taking your guard down, taking your wall down, taking that protective masculine shield down and letting people in, letting them see all of you. And that is something that is created when you have that balance of polarities and you have that emotional connection. Like if you've ever experienced when you're sharing something very deep within you with a person and they're really seeing you and really hearing you, you feel very safe and you feel like, oh, I can take my wall down. Like they're not judging and they're not criticizing me. Sorry, my dog's having a little bit of a, it's okay, Fred. There you go. That was presents. I just, gave presents to my dog right there while he was, I don't know, emoting something out of his body. So back to intimacy. So it's about creating that protective, like feeling protected and safe that you can show all of yourself. And that is a gift that you can give someone. When you really see them, you really hear them and just allow them to be and not judge and criticize them. So that's intimacy. Now let's talk about attraction. Now to be in a relationship, and this is, I think, one of the confusing things when it comes to polarity. This is something that I have, just been realizing recently is that for you to have attraction with a partner, we have this core energy deep within us. And this core energy in a relationship has to be opposite of your partner. So you need the different poles. You need the north and you need the south pole. And if you don't, you're not going to have that like deep, like connected attraction, that spark, that sexual attraction with your partner. Now you can be connected with someone who has the same core energy as you, be really emotionally connected, be really intimate with them, but you might not actually have that spark and that attraction with them because possibly you have different core energies. And that is the distinction between them. And I think it's very common in relationships. Like I know I had a client ask me, they're like, well, I don't really know if this person I'm dating is, like someone that, I want to be with. Like, I'm not really feeling that like energy, like that spark with them. And it's like, well, is it my trauma? Is it me not wanting to be with them because they're like a good person, they treat me well, they're safe? It could be that. It could totally be the trauma. But let's go underneath that and let's just check in to see, do they have an opposite core energy as you? If they don't, they're better off just being a friend for you because you're going to be fighting to try to create this spark and this attraction that's never going to be there. Like it's literally physics, right? It's taking two magnets and they're going to be repelling each other. Like they're never going to be connected in that like deep level. So 3 amazing things to really understand when it comes to a relationship so that you can stop being so like confused and second guessing yourself in your relationship and just really listening to your body, because your body is going to tell you if you have that attraction with your partner. If you don't, you're going to feel it on a visceral level. And that's like, there's no lying in that. And we get so caught up in our minds trying to think through it. It's like, well, they're a good person and they treat me well and I'm emotionally connected with them and I love them. But like, there needs to be a little bit more than that if you want to have this like deep spark and attraction in your relationship. And sometimes what can happen is, as a child, you were very emotionally neglected and your needs weren't met and you weren't seen and heard and you didn't have that like intimacy. And you can get that in a relationship and you think that, oh my gosh, they're the one because they make you feel so good. They make you feel so emotionally connected. They make you feel so seen and heard. But if there's not the actual like physical spark and connection there, you're just going to be like frustrating yourself over and over again. Now, that's just my personal opinion based on what I have learned about these polarities and how they kind of play out in relationships. It's your choice what you do in your relationships. But if you'd like to know more about this and actually dive deeper in this, feel free to reserve your spot in my free 3-day virtual emotional connection challenge. And we're going to dive into all of this stuff on a deeper level and really help you discover, what is your core energy? And then how do these energies like masculine and feminine energies play out within you, play out in your relationship, how you can build that emotional connection in your relationship. So I look forward to connecting with you emotionally, intimately in that safe container. And be sure to like the video and subscribe and comment below and let me know what part of this do you find fascinating? Like, is it the learning what emotional connection is, intimacy, or is it the core energies creating the actual attraction? What do you think is your, what's holding you back in your relationship? So thanks so much, and we will see you in the next video.